Thank you, Peter. I'd also like to thank the Stewardship Campaign for inviting me to speak on behalf of the fundraiser for our budget for 2025. But to start with, I'd like to introduce Anne, my wife. We have been members of St. John's now for 29 years. And but I'm going to be very honest with you and share one thing. It was up until my retirement, which was about 6-7 years ago, I used to sit here in the nave, and to be very honest with you, I just walked through those doors and partaked in the service, and I went home. And I didn't think or consider anything about how St. John's worked. And it was upon my retirement that I was sitting in the nave, and prior to the service, I was studying the stained glass window, and I was suddenly kind of overcome with, how does St. John's work? What does it take to put all this together on a Sunday? What does it take to put all the events together during the course of the week? And my curiosity got the better of me, and I went to Peter and I asked him, what do I do? How do I find this out? And I took his advice and I joined the vestry. Well, that wasn't just the end. I suddenly found myself senior warden for 3 years. And I was blind, right? I had no idea what to expect as the role of either a vestry member and or a senior warden. At the same time, I joined the finance committee, I joined the property committee, and during those 3 years, I learned a great deal. So much so that at the end of my 3 years, I had to come off the vestry. That's the canons of the church, but I couldn't wait to get back on. And now I'm back on the vestry, and I am now your junior warden. So you could say I'm a glutton for punishment, but I'm not, all right? And I could now stand here like many other speakers have spoken to you, and I could speak about the blessings that I've received and Anne has received from St. John's. I could speak about all the friendships that we have gained. But today is a little bit more serious because we have a 2025 budget that we're preparing for. And I need to give you an update. We have a goal of $1.7 million. And that $1.7 million is basically to put a budget together that allows us to bring to you on every Sunday and every day during the course of the year what you have become to expect from St. John's. Now, as of this weekend, we are $440,000 shy of that $1.7 million. $440,000. And we only have 1 week left in the stewardship campaign. So rather than speak about what St. John's means to me and Anne, I want to speak about the $440,000, and I also want to speak to the number of parishioners that have yet to decide how they're going to offer their stewardship, their pledge to St. John's, because so far we've had approximately 50% of all the members pledge for 2025. So actually I take that as good news. It's $440,000, and we have at least half of all the members, and some of them could actually be sitting in this very room right now, that are still to decide how much they're going to pledge for next year. So I'm going to help you. I'm a man about props. Here's a number, 131, all right? And you're all going to wonder, why has John got 131? What does that mean? Well, I want you to do this. You can either do it now, and I would give you permission to open up your cell phones and get your calculator out, or you can go home and do this. But we're going to talk about three numbers. Take the 1.7 million, that's the budget for 2025, divide it by 52 weeks, and that brings you down to a weekly budget number to run St. John's. Now, what you all may not know is that our average service count on a Sunday is 250 parishioners. So it's an easy number, 250. If you take the weekly budget amount and divide it by 250, you will receive a number that's $131. Now, I'm going to pick on David here, and I'm going to ask David, did you realize that that seat you're sitting on cost you $131? Now, in all fairness, right, that 131 is shared evenly between all of you. Now, God and the sacred rites in the Bible, they know that each one of us is not all coming from the same kind of financial well-being, that each one of us comes from a very different financial background. But we are encouraged to give back. Now, we could charge an entrance fee through those doors and coming into the nave, but Jesus, he never charged for all of his gatherings, and St. John's is the same. We do not charge an entry fee. But at this time of the year, we reach out to you and we ask you to seriously consider pledging for next year's budget. Think in terms of 131 as you're contemplating for those that have not yet pledged. But as I said, God knows, and the sacrament's right, they say that 10% is the planned or the goal in your givings, not 131 equally spread amongst all people. So my final request to you is very simple. For those of you that have yet to pledge, if you really truly appreciate all that St. John's has to offer, go home, give serious thought to pledging, determine what your personal pledge amount can be, because that is a very, very personal decision. And then, with a willing heart and with God's blessing, put that pledge envelope into the tray and or mail it into the church. And let's get to that $440,000 gap, and let's reach our $1.7 million goal. Thank you for listening, and God bless to you all. Thank you.